Good morning and welcome to CNC and the AEC. I'm Crystal Pierce with FFKR Architects.
I'm Cassie Wells with Modern Business Development.
Today, we are here with our dear friend and industry rock star, Jennifer Villalobos with Sharp Construction.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for the invite. I'm so honored today.
Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. Yes. Anything for you too.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks.
Well, we just want to start with how we actually met you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So we actually met first.
Yes.
And you were one of the first people that I met when I started back, 4.5 years ago. And we met through the Arizona Tech Council.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I think you were still working for Nothing But Net.
Yeah, I was working for a local IT company. I had just moved to Phoenix. And that was one of the few organizations that they were very plugged into. And yeah, we met and you were awesome. And I feel that we were both in this weird kind of environment of trying to figure it out. What are we doing? What is networking? Because that was really the first job that I've taken on that was like in sales. Like I moved to Phoenix to want to enter this like sales kind of role. And I met you through the Arizona Tech Council and it was great. And then later met Miss Cassie Wells here, but
I did.
Like a year
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
And
seems
how did the two of you meet?
we met through Paul. So,
Yeah.
And I really think Paul and Jennifer met initially on one of your Zoom calls that you were doing during COVID,
Oh my gosh.
during the lockdown.
Yeah.
How
And
funny
because I
is
remember
that?
Paul was like, I got to start networking. Like, I got to start ramping up the sales. Like, who knows what COVID's going to bring.
Yes.
And so he started reaching out to some people. I think you were on
And
that
he
call.
did. I think he reached out to
Yeah.
me and then we met up and we had coffee. I think at that time we were able to meet in person and we had coffee at one of my favorite coffee shops, Burdina's.
Yes.
Which
the
is
best.
where we ended up meeting you again.
Yes.
Was at Burdina's. And
yeah, he came home. He's like, you got to meet her.
Yeah.
You have to meet Jennifer. And I was like, let's meet Jennifer. Let's
Yeah.
do this.
So we kind of connected and I feel that we've all been best friends ever since.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how your career started, how you ended up at Sharp.
Yeah. So I ended up at Sharp. I'm going to kind of fast forward through this. I graduated college. I got a degree in Spanish translation and interpretation. And that was because I changed my major 3 or 4 times, really not thinking I was going to go into like the healthcare space and realizing I hated science. And I'm like, I don't care about the nucleus. Like what I did love was like surgeries and like deliveries. And, but then when you like get the realization that you have to learn all this, like, nonsense prior, which isn't nonsense, but
it was
like,
you.
yes, it was for me. I was like, I'm out of this. I'm not doing this. So, I think I was just trying to figure it out. I was also minoring in Spanish and I went to my counselor. I was like, I need to graduate. And they're like, well, you can get a degree in Spanish. And I'm like, excellent, done. Let's do it. Then I remember calling my mom and telling her that. She's like, what are you going to do with that? Like, you already speak Spanish. Like, she was baffled. She was actually very upset with me and didn't speak to me for a few months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She was like, oh my goodness. So I got a job with a really large interpreting company and I was with them for 5 years. During my time that I was with them, 5-6 years, I went back to grad school. I got my MBA. And I was in operations management for a long time with them. And then afterwards with Target running their supply chain distribution center. I thought that after I left the interpreting company, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot with a bigger corporate company like Target and to still stick it out through operations management. But then I realized I was done with operations management. I was like, I don't want to do operations management. I have like this, like, I just want to do sales. I feel that I'm good with people and I want to go out and I want to like hunt. And I don't know what was going through my mind. So at that time, I think I had a friend that had just moved to Phoenix and she was like, you need to move to Phoenix. It's booming here. It's great. There's so many job opportunities. And I remember hating Phoenix. Like I despise Phoenix. And I was like, there's freeways. I'm a small town girl. I don't do well with freeways.
Oh,
so eventually I did. I moved and I, was working for the local IT company where it really taught me a lot about sales. We were like hardcore cold calling, door knocking in the summer. And I was obsessed with the door knocking because that's where like the human interaction piece was.
Yeah.
And I remember like the no soliciting signs, and I'm like, well, maybe if I bring a box of cookies, nobody will say anything. And I just started kind of getting through that and really not caring for the no soliciting signs, becoming friends with like the receptionist.
So it worked.
It worked, of course. Yeah. Doing some of the networking. Cookies always work.
Yeah.
Always works.
Yeah.
Getting really creative. And then through there, I met Jim Stevens, actually at an IFMA morning breakfast networking thing that they did. And I was like, I'm going to go to this breakfast thing. And Jim had just moved here from DC. And, you know, we met up later. I had reached out to him. I was like, hey, we need moving every once in a while to move like servers. We should connect. And he was like, hey, like, you know, sales, you know, marketing, you understand operations. What will it take for you to come over to M3? So we kind of just had a conversation like that and spent 2 years with M3. I helped them kind of build the brand awareness to what M3 is today. And then eventually became really good friends with Tiffany. She's kind of a mentor of mine. And then joined Sharp Construction. So it's kind of long story short. I felt like that was more long than it was short. But anyways, yeah. So now I'm at Sharp Construction. I just celebrated 2 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And I love it. I love BD. I love sales. I love marketing. I love commercial real estate development, marketing, and we've done a lot of really cool things.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about Sharp Construction.
Yeah. So Sharp Construction is a woman-owned general contractor here in the Valley, founded by Tiffany Sharp. We actually just celebrated our 5-year anniversary in November. I've been with the team the last 2 years, and I've seen the team really grow, develop, change. And it's really exciting because I feel like this is the best team ever that we have currently right now at Sharp. But through that, we've created some really amazing initiatives, one of them being Girls Can Build.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is really a initiative that we're trying to just empower young girls and expose them to this industry of construction, architecture, the trades, you know, careers that a lot of women are not exposed to as young girls. And the Girl Scouts is actually our beneficiary partner of our first project, which is a mobile building space.
That's amazing. And you know, it's so important, an initiative like that, because you talk to women in the industry, us three included, we probably weren't exposed to it. I know I wasn't exposed to it. We all kind of fell into it, found our niche through different ways, but it wasn't being taught to us.
Yeah.
You know, so it's something that I'm very cognizant of, even with my daughter. You know, she gets a hard hat and a vest from Santa, just like my son does, you know, like that's important to me. And so, I love Girls Can Build. We're huge advocates. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks,
it's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a really fun journey. We've been able to fundraise about $230,000. We just purchased our box truck.
Yeah.
I've never been so in love with the box truck in my life.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's hopefully going to be going under design soon. So it's been really exciting.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yes. Huge stuff.
So I want us to deep dive into the topic that I want us to discuss today. We didn't want to just have you on because we admire and respect you.
Although it helps.
Yeah,
it does help. We think so highly of you, but we want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And today I really want us to discuss how to manage and live a healthy work-life balance.
Okay.
And the reason that this came up is because I had a meeting with you.
Yes.
It was probably 3 weeks into me starting with FFKR.
Yeah.
And when I first started with FFKR, I came in guns a-blazing. I set very high expectations for myself. I tend to be a perfectionist. So right away, I, for some reason, was saying yes to everything. I wanted to be everywhere. I wanted to attend every event. I wanted to go to every meeting that I could. And about the time I was meeting with you, I, for some reason, was like on the verge of burnout.
Yeah.
And I remember I sat down for coffee with you, and all of a sudden I was like, I am overwhelmed. I'm finding myself stressed already. And I just started. And I came to you kind of needing advice. So I feel like in the business development world, we kind of get in that space where all of a sudden we're doing too much.
Yes.
And we're saying maybe yes. So some of my questions to you is, how do you do it all and still say no?
Yes. Or do you do it all?
I don't do it all. Even though most people think that I do, you know, one of the most common things that I get told all the time is, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. Oh, you're so busy. How do you do it?
Right.
And I think there's a lot of strategy to those that are actually doing it right in business development, right? And you have to be very strategic about your time, your marketing, which is why everyone thinks I'm everywhere, but I'm really not. And I've actually learned to really work on work-life balance since I've joined Sharp. I think what I love about our company is that Tiffany is a huge advocate for mental health, a huge advocate for ensuring that we spend time with our families, and take care of ourselves, right? Because if we don't take care of ourselves, how are we going to do well in our business?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, there are some weeks where I am working 60-hour weeks, and then some where it's 30, 35, right?
Yeah.
And I'm being a lot more protective about my schedule. I've realized that there's only one me. And when I do overburn myself out, I get sick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or I'm not all there.
Yeah.
And I don't do my job right. And to me, there's nothing more important than people meeting me and knowing that I am genuine and I am real, right? So I don't ever want to go to an event or a meeting and someone see, you know, me being fake or me really trying to get through that meeting because I'm tired and I'm burnt out.
Right.
So I try to be a lot more strategic about my time. I have an amazing notebook that I carry in my backpack, and I'm jotting down notes for the follow-up to make sure that I'm not forgetting the things that I promised people to do, and the things that I want to kind of like check off my list. But also when people are reaching out to me, you know, when I first started in the industry, I remember being like, why don't they want to take a meeting with me? Like as a salesperson, I'm like, my service is going to help them out. Like, why wouldn't they want to know about, you know, M3, or why don't they want to know about Sharp? And now that I'm here, I get it. You know, you only have so much time in the day.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people that I was reaching out to, you know, they have families, significant others. So you do want to be respectful. You want to come very prepared to every meeting that you do take, you know, and that is given to you when you do have that success to get them on your calendar, or people get on my calendar, right? So I'm just a lot more strategic about the people that I'm meeting with, and really seeing, you know, how is this beneficial either for Sharp Construction or for Girls Can Build. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm just trying to be more strategic. And with the marketing, everyone thinks I'm everywhere, but that's only because I do a really good job with strategically posting when I post. So it seems like I'm very active, which is my role as the vice president of business development marketing, to make sure that Sharp is out and about everywhere. So,
and we did talk about some of those tips too, because I felt like, oh, I'm trying to do too much. And wasn't the company asking me to do that. It was me.
Absolutely.
It's always
we're
me.
Overachievers.
We're overachievers. I was trying to do too much, but sometimes it's little things now too. If I don't have time to be posting at every event, I might be at every event. I don't post at every event I'm from. But now sometimes a helpful tip we were discussing is you just let sometimes other people do the post.
Yeah.
And then you can share it.
If you can post for an event that other people were at and you can tag them, that actually makes their life easier.
Absolutely.
So like, please do that. If you have a photo and there's 5 of you in them, post it, tag them. They will share it. Tag the company. Because then you get their viewers seeing your post. So now you get more exposure to their entire network, and it saves them time. It's really like doing them a favor. So I like that a lot.
And you're doing yourself a favor too, because to your point, you are being exposed now to their network. If you tag their company or if you tag that individual, they're not liking the post or they're sharing the post. So now you're going into their network or followers. And same thing with the company. If the company likes the post and they have 5,000 followers, all of those followers are going to be notified that Sharp Construction just like Cassie Wells' post. So now it's coming up as something that Sharp Construction like, and now people are engaging with the post. So it's really important, you know, just even from like a marketing standpoint, to tag those other companies and the other individuals that are, you know, within your picture. So
and we have a a LinkedIn discussion that we're going to be doing all about LinkedIn, and we'll dive into tips, tricks, all of that.
We do. You had another great piece of advice for me that day. Yeah. Because I was struggling as well with saying yes to every meeting because people were reaching out. I want to meet with you. I want to learn about your new company, which is wonderful and great. And then sometimes though, I think within 3 weeks, I had 40 meetings.
Yeah.
Which was a lot. And I asked you, how do you sometimes politely decline a meeting, or how do you say no?
Yeah.
And your advice, which I loved, was you sometimes then will say, hey, come meet me at an event I'm going to be at. And I thought that was
absolutely
great.
I like that.
Yeah. So
I
think,
that.
It's funny because within our industry, I think to your point, I think there's rock stars that do it very well. And one of those individuals for me was Tammy Carr, who's with Brinkman Construction. And she's
rock star.
Yes. Been in the industry for a long time. She does it well every single time. And, I kind of went to her about this problem that I was encountering myself in as well. And I was like, Tammy, how do you do it? Like, how do I take care of me? And that was a tip that she gave me that I was like, that's
brilliant.
Genius.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Right?
I didn't necessarily think about that.
Yeah.
You start to remove the people that are not serious about this industry. And that's what I've learned. That are either going to want to capitalize on your time or they're just wasting your time, right? So if I don't already have a relationship or it wasn't a warm introduction, I will go to the approach of like, you know what? My calendar I'm slammed, which I am. I'm typically booked out a couple weeks in advance. And I say, but I am going to be at this event. If you would like to meet me there, the event is free. It's going to be great. I'll also make introductions to more individuals that I think can benefit you. Let's connect there.
Because it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. Yeah. And then if they show up, I know that they're serious.
Yeah.
So then once they show up, then I'll be like, okay, this person is serious about my time. And then from there, if I understand and kind of hear their pitch or learn a little bit more about themselves, I can also understand, well, you know what? That's really not a service that Sharp Construction or my team is going to really take on. But to your point, I know people that will. So let me make those introductions for you.
Exactly.
And I save your time and my time.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
Yeah. And I do something similar to that where if I'm booked out, because there are some people I'm like, I'm so booked out.
Yeah.
Like it's just the calendar's out of control. I am still in the position that I feel like when it hit you when you were 3 weeks in, that's how I have felt the past couple months. And again, I don't have like a boss that's writing me.
Right.
It's 100% me. Like my boss is out of control. She never says no. She's a crazy lady.
Yes.
I should report her to HR.
Yes.
No, now I'm talking to the third person. I'm like, she is crazy. No, but I was doing that so much because I felt the need to prove to my clients, like, look, this is a service that you signed up for. Look at how many things I'm doing. Because otherwise it's so difficult to prove business development, especially early, especially when you first start. So I became hyper fixated on saying yes to everything, doing everything that I could. And I found myself providing these stats to my clients with the disclaimer, like, just so you know, this is unsustainable.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm doing this initially. My business is in month 1. My business is in month 2. This is unsustainable.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for me, it was unsustainable because I hit a point where, like you said, like you and I were talking about, and we were talking about earlier, you're at events and you're either concerned about your next event or you're like, I got to get out of here when you're like so many back to backs.
So I guess that leads me to the question, what are the risks then of taking on too much in a BD role?
Yeah.
Or BD in general. What are the risks then of not managing well and just doing too much?
Yeah.
And saying yes all the time because you feel the need to, I guess
FOMO.
Yes, it is.
Just FOMO. You don't want to disappoint people. Like it's a balance of how do I justify what's best for me while 100%. Still being helpful to someone else.
Yes. But I think to your point, at the beginning, you are saying yes to everything because you don't know. You're new to the industry.
Yes.
You're trying to figure it out. Who's going to be a valuable connection that's actually going to help me grow? But you have to go through that. You have to learn. And there was many, different organizations that I went to and I was like, that was a waste of time.
Yes,
this one's money. Like, but that took me time. So once, you kind of go through that for the first year.
Discovery process,
100%. And then you start to figure out, okay, well, these are the organizations that for me are super valuable, right? So now I'm going to get really deep in the weeds with them.
Yes.
Because I realize that they are of value to me. But to your point, it's when you do get burnt out, I get really sick. Like I'll start seeing myself get sick. I think like foggy brain, like you're not even efficient. Like you open up the laptop and you're like, wait, what was I doing again? Or, you know what I mean?
I have the inability to multitask, which is my strength.
Yes. I think to one of your points, you just start thinking about other things. You go to a meeting and you just start thinking.
Not there. You're not your day because you're like, okay, I got to make sure I'm out of here right now because if I'm not out of here right now, I got to drive to my next one. If I'm late for my next one, and then all of a sudden you're thinking about all these things and think, oh, what about traffic? And you're so not engaged with who you were there to be engaged with.
Absolutely.
So then I feel like, yes, it's high quantity of time spent with people, but what's that quality?
Yeah.
The quality is half. Like your foot's not on the gas. You're just kind of coasting. Like that to me is not worth a meeting.
Absolutely.
If I can't be there with 100% focus, then I shouldn't be there. I'm scheduling too many meetings. And to your point, I think there are, like you said, health concerns. I think there's mental health concerns.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I got to the point, I remember having so many meetings in a week. I had multiple large events. I'm trying to post about them, trying to like do it all. Right. And I was picking up my mail and not from my house, but from my work mail and my daughter in the car. I was so fogged with what I need to do next. I could not remember how to get home. That is how bad it was.
Yeah.
And that was a turning point for me. I sat in my car, the Demi Moore tear rolled down and I was like, this is totally unsustainable. I cannot continue like this.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to start slowing things down. You and I talked about what I just recently did on my calendar, which was I am blocking off Mondays. I will not schedule meetings on Mondays. If there's an emergency or, of course, but I'm proactively trying to keep those for the follow-ups, going through
Absolutely.
I got a little black notebook in my purse. I got to go through there. And I told this person I'm going to make an introduction. I can't wait 3 weeks. Like that'll eat me alive and make me more stressed.
Absolutely.
I'll be thinking about it driving. And so it's something I've really struggled with. And I did create this business to allow myself flexibility. And the moment I created the business, I took away all my flexibility. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm in complete control and I can't say no. And so
I know
that was something that was super important to me. And it just like 3 weeks ago slapped me right in the face. Like, this is too much. I don't need to prove my value in quantity.
No,
that's my value to my clients is 100% the quality.
Absolutely.
It's so true.
So,
and it took me like meeting with you to realize,
and I think sometimes it's you have to reach out to those that you have a lot of respect for to remind you, right? Because I've been in your situation before, even today. Like there's weeks that I just look at the calendar and I'm like,
get there and we're like, what are we doing to ourselves?
That's a big thing for me is I'm the one who scheduled these.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I lay in bed at night because I can't plan out more than one day in a row for my own brain or I lose track of what's what.
Yeah.
But I look and I'm like, okay, 8, 10, 12, 1, 2. And I'm like, all of a sudden I'm dreading it when I felt like, oh, I'm so smart. Let me just get that one in during that day. I got a quick moment. No, I am not smart at all because it gives me no time to think, no time to plan, no time to do my research, no time to do my follow-ups. And I'm dreading my next work day.
Absolutely.
But when have you ever noticed like you have one meeting in a day or no meetings in a day and you're like excited?
Oh, I love
Yes.
it. I love
that
it.
to me tells me I'm on the verge of my burnout.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When I look at a day and I'm dreading it if it's packed
Mhm.
and I'm looking forward to it if it's light.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a sign to be like, okay, I need to start
Slow it down, clean it
and
up.
book them out.
Yeah.
Like, so to your point, I drifted away, came back. Maybe I'm still on the verge of burnout, but your suggestion on meeting for networking events, like, oh yeah, meet me at this networking event. For me, I'm like, listen, I'm completely packed, which is not a lie.
Yeah.
Can you follow up with me early June?
Yes.
Can you
I've
follow up
been
with me
saying that,
mid-June?
and I'm fine with it. I can meet with you in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's totally okay. And at the same time, to your point, if they're serious,
They're going to reach out.
they're going to reach out. And if they don't, if I hear from no one in June, then I know that's okay.
Yeah.
That's totally okay because then it wasn't meant to be.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's where I find myself right now. So,
Yeah.
this is an extremely, like, you guys, this is like a life-changing moment for me. You guys don't understand.
What are some things that you guys do to stay healthy, like mentally, physically?
Yeah. So for me, this year, I made it a point to really take care of me and my body and put myself first. Now that, I feel that I've been with Sharp Construction for a year. So I 2 years now, but my first year, I really wanted to learn a lot about just the industry. I was going to job sites a lot. Tiffany and I were spending a lot of times connecting and, reading material, and I would take that home. And then year two, I feel that I focused a lot on just still kind of getting out there, building the brand awareness, et cetera, for Sharp Construction. So now that I'm more focused on it being even more strategic, health to me is huge, right? I meal prep every weekend. Every weekend, I realize that I have to take care of me. So for me to take care of me, I got to eat healthy. So I try to avoid being sick. So every weekend I'm meal prepping. For the week, I meal prep my breakfasts, and sometimes my lunches. And then I try to work out 3 to 4 times a week. I think
that's great.
A must.
Yes.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I'm a very high energy person. So I feel that my mind is always going, right? So by the time my day ends, I typically work out in the evenings just because I live so far in the Southeast Valley, that I already have to get up early enough to be on this side of town, to meet with people. So I typically work out at the end of the day.
An interesting fact that I'm going to throw in that I know about Jennifer is that she was a bodybuilder.
Yeah, she was. I remember.
So that's kind of like a little bit of why I am the way I am. But I feel that I'm a very regimented person, and I like a lot of black and white. Like it has to be very routine. And I keep to that routine because I feel that for me personally, that makes me successful. And when I look good, I feel good. And when I feel good, I perform even better. Right. So that for me has always been really big in the way that I think I go about my business. Right. And I'm smarter, I'm more alert. So health to me is like number one. And then two, I see a counselor. I love seeing, I think mental health is so important. And I like to see a counselor, once a month to talk about my health and what's going on in my life. And it's just like the best like decompression ever. And I think that's very important. And I feel that there's still a little bit of a taboo to mental health awareness and
I agree.
Yes, absolutely.
A counselor. But I think that's so important, especially as someone that is in a leadership position that a lot of times we take on the issues of our employees. And then I'm the firstborn of my family. My parents are immigrants. So my parents really don't speak English that well. So then I take on, that of my parents too. So it's like, well, who takes on my stuff?
Yeah.
Who do I call to like help me out? Right. So I think seeing a professional is also really important just to kind of help you get your ideas aligned. And that's super important to me. So I think that's what
I agree with that.
To continue
to
stay in the line.
I totally agree with that. I'm a huge fan of therapy.
Yes. Oh yeah, all day.
I had someone tell me this very early on. If you use therapy like vitamins, you won't need it as medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
And that to me, because I feel like sometimes people are afraid to go to therapy until like, oh, well, is it that bad?
Yeah.
If it's not bad, that's an okay. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's okay to go to therapy if things aren't terrible.
Yeah,
I think you gotta go to maintain. You gotta go to get some of this stuff out. Because there are some days you're just like, man, am I crazy or was that weird?
To think I'm pretty normal because of therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe other people would say I'm not normal, but
no, I 100%.
No, I feel that way about myself. Yeah.
Like, and to me, it's like I hold a lot of my stress and my tension in my upper shoulders. Like, so I also like bi-monthly, I go get cupping and like scraping and stretching because that's also, again, maintenance. Like I want to avoid, you know, any illnesses in the future. And because I'm so on the go all the time, like I have to take care of myself. So it's important.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do, I like to work out 3 to 5 times a week, and you have to plan it around the networking events. A lot of networking events are in the evening, which sucks. It sucks.
You know, but there's a plus to that because then I feel it limits your intake on alcohol. Like I'm not a big alcohol drinker.
Yeah.
I am not. And I sometimes I feel that I go to these happy hours and if I say, oh, I'm not gonna have a cocktail, people are like, oh, you know, and
it's wrong, or oh, come on, girl, just yeah. There's a pressure. I agree.
But there is a pressure. But to me, it's like I need to go work out, and then I gotta drive home.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
Yeah. So it's to me almost like a really great getaway. It's like, listen, I'm only gonna have one cocktail, or I'm not gonna have a cocktail at all because I have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh wow, you're so committed, or whatever. It's like I just need to take care of my body.
Yeah.
Like in my mind.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I agree with that. And that's what I do. I also have a rule for myself because my time with my children is very limited.
Yeah.
So if you're working out, if you're making dinner, if you're doing chores, if you're doing all that stuff, in addition to a networking event, you almost lose all of the time with your kids, at least for me. So I when I have time with my kids after work, I take my phone, I put it in my purse. I don't look at it for hours.
Yeah.
That is something that's so important to me because otherwise, then on top of my burnout, I got like the mom guilt.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, man, I only saw my kids for 45 minutes today.
Yeah.
In a 24-hour period. That's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. So, that's one thing that I like to do. But getting a workout in, man, if I lay down in bed and I haven't worked out, I'm grumpy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then Paul's got to deal with that because then I'm like grumpy to Paul. And it's because I didn't work out because I didn't plan my schedule the right way. It's not his fault.
Yes.
You know, so it's, this is some deep stuff, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a therapy session. And
touche. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to admit I don't work out.
I do know that about you. And that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm just going to be honest. I don't do that.
Okay. That's okay.
But what I do for myself is I make time for the love of my life. And we spend time together and we're planning trips together. And then I also think it's important because I'm trying to sharpen my mind.
Yes.
So I'm reading more and I am part of a book club with some people in the industry and it's called the book club. You might have to edit that out.
Jake, can we?
But shout out to my book club. But also I'm trying to learn Italian. And you know.
Yeah, you've been really good about that.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
really good about that.
You know, step outside of the box.
I love that.
Do things for me.
Yeah.
Like you guys say.
Yeah.
And
you have to.
I think that's the biggest part. It doesn't have to be work. It's like whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah,
just make sure you're doing things for you.
Yes.
Right? Whether that's I'm just going to go to the spa once a month or I'm going to spend time with my loved ones. You know, I'm going to make sure
done or when
100%.
When Alex and I are spending time together, it's like, I don't have my phone out.
Yeah. It's important.
Things like that. We're all about quality time. And
I feel like if you view every moment of your life as an investment and then zoom out, like where are you investing your time?
Yeah.
You know, and if it's not in the things that are most important in your life,
absolutely.
Time to make a change.
Yes.
You know, that's how I feel.
So yes, just trying to stay sane.
Yes.
And manage time better.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we have a question for you.
Okay.
Outside of bodybuilding, which is a fun fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's another fun fact about Jennifer Villalobos?
Another fun fact, which is more like an embarrassing fact.
Oh, we love those.
So I actually grew up near a beach, like 30 minutes away, and I don't know how to swim. Like,
wow.
I knew that fact. No, I knew that fact about you.
I don't know how to do this club.
Yeah. Whistle.
I don't know how to
ride
swim.
a bike.
You can't swim.
I can't swim. And
I
my
noticed that.
dad is
we ever
like,
go to a beach together, we'll save you.
yeah, my dad's like, take the lesson, Jennifer. And I was like, Dad, I'm not going to be the only adult with a bunch of 2-year-olds at like the swimming pool training so yeah, I'll be like that
I've
one.
seen you in a pool before though, but I guess
been-
like,
no,
you
no,
just
no.
sit on the side.
She's been at my pool before, and you sat on the side because you're like, no, I don't swim. Yeah.
We've gone out to the lake and stuff. And it was so funny last year. I think it was last year, the year before that. Tiffany owns a boat. So we took a bunch of people in the industry out to the lake, and it was hilarious because everyone the entire time will want to have a life vest on the entire time. And everyone's like, is Jennifer okay? Is Jennifer okay? Like, and
You guys hit a bump and you're like, where's Jennifer?
Yeah, make sure I got my little
embarrassing.
That girl. Yeah, we've gone like Salt River tubing, like me and a group of friends. And, I see everyone having a great time and they're awesome, like summer gear. And I'm like the nerd with like the water shoes and the floaties. And I'm
be
like,
around water, right?
No, doesn't sound like it.
It does not, but I will. Like at the pool, if I'm like, like let's say a pool party or something with like group of friends, I won't go near the shallow side. I mean, the deep side.
Yeah.
Like the deep side does terrify me.
Yeah.
Like
I'm at the shallow end of my
yes,
pool.
absolutely. That's exactly where I'll be the entire time.
Yeah.
Is on the shallow side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or my feet in. I mean, I've tried to surf and I know how to swim. And I threw myself out in the ocean. I was like, oh, it's strapped to my ankle. So if anything, I can like pull myself up and I'm going to float on this, which was kind of silly. Got really injured, drank a lot of water, and then I got out. Yeah. I've gone scuba.
That's terrible. Yeah. I can swim in that.
Yeah. I've gone snorkeling in the Keys. But same thing. I had like a noodle or two. And then I just like looked down and I was like, okay, I'm done. And then I drank a bunch of water and then I got back on the boat. So it's never been a great experience when I try to be brave, but I just haven't learned to swim. And everyone claims they're going to teach me and no one ever does. So I really want to learn.
Dog paddle around.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I taught my children. I can teach you.
Yeah. Okay.
I can do it.
Yes. Just
actually probably call.
Throw me. Everyone's like, we're just going to throw you in the deep side. I'm like, do not.
Absolutely not.
PTSD. Do not.
That is how I was taught.
No.
Now I know.
Now I'm going to need.
Now you know why I cry when someone wants me to dive.
It just makes sense.
Yeah. I get to the edge of the pool. Paul uses it like a party trick. He's like, go, Cassie, go dive. And I start shaking. My knees are shaking.
Yeah.
Because I literally remember the trauma of being pushed in and like not knowing if I was going to make it and flailing around. So that's how I was taught. I would never teach you that way.
Please do not.
Absolutely not. Now you understand my trauma more.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Coming today.
Yeah, Fred.
And sharing your expertise.
Yeah.
Anytime. I love you guys. I adore you.
We love you too.
You guys are some of the best in the industry. I've always said, oh my God, if like Crystal or Cassie come over to the GC side, then we're going to have problems. Like, then we're really going to have problems because they are amazing. So, yes.
We
think
the same.
We think that about you.
Thank you, ladies.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, Bevo Vino. Ciao.